The Gilded Ones, Chapter 5. The next week passes swiftly. A blur of howling snowstorms, freezing roads, and frightful nightmares. Even though I am no longer in the cellar, I sometimes have dreams that the walls are closing in on me again, that the elders are approaching, knives and buckets in hands, gold lust in their eyes. I wake up in the wagon crying, chest heaving with great sobs, while Britta edges even nearer, concern in her eyes. I know she would hold me if I let her, but I'm not ready to be touched by another person's hands. Most days, I just feel like screaming until my throat collapses. Sometimes when I awake, the furs covering me are in tatters. I've ripped them apart in my sleep, shredding tough hides as if they were parchment. Even the strongest men in the village couldn't manage such a feat. More confirmation that I'm unnatural, the spawn of reviled demons rather than a child of humanity. It's almost a relief when I look up after 8 days of traveling to find that we're in Gar Milanis, the port city where we'll board ship to Hemira. The entire city is smothered in darkness when we arrive. The ramshackle, soot-covered buildings crowd against each other, dim oil lamps brightening murky interiors. Our ship, the Salt Whistle, creaks at the dock, an aged, squat passenger vessel with graying sails and chipped blue paint on the sides. Weary sailors dart across the snow-slick deck, settling passengers, hauling baggage and supplies. Families huddle together against the cold. Mothers in their plain brown travel masks, father with miniature copies of the infinite wisdom on their belts to ensure traveling mercies. The moment we board, I find a quiet corner and I look up to the night sky. Bright green and purple lights are rippling across it, the northern lights, heralding the return of Oyomo's chariot to the southern home. It's a sign. After all those weeks in the cellar, Oyomo has finally answered my prayers. I'm on my way to Hemira, to my new life as a soldier in the Emperor's army, a life that will bring me absolution. Thank you. Thank you. The prayer of gratitude circles my mind. Enjoying the view. White Hands is approaching, Britta and the Ikus at her side. As usual, there's that look in her eyes, that amused smirk that always is visible under the shadow of her half-mask. It makes the skin on my arms prickle, an uneasiness I'll do my best to stifle. What if White Hands is lying? What if all of this is a trick, an underhanded plot to corral all of our kind into the same place? I wouldn't put it past her. I've never met anyone so secretive in my life, not even the priests. Britta and I have spent over a week in her company and still hadn't told us her real name. We now call her White Hands outright, since she's made no objections. I school my features and turn to her. It's beautiful, I say. Isn't it? Britta is in such a hurry to join the conversation now that I'm talking. She doesn't even pay attention to her surroundings, and as she walks over, almost reminds me of the night sky, and she yelps, tripping over a mound of netting that she's up in seconds, dusting herself off, smiling ruefully, not a hint of embarrassment to her. Almost broke my neck. Lucky our kind is hard to kill, isn't that right? Isn't that right, White Hands? She quips. The older woman shrugs. Most Alaki die very easily, actually, she murmurs. Britta's forehead's wrinkled. But what about the gilded sleep, she asks. That happens only if it's an almost death. It's my turn to frown now. An almost death? I ask, walking closer. I've never heard such a thing. For Alaki, there are two types of death, White Hands explains. Almost deaths and final ones. Almost deaths are fleeting, impermanent things. They result in the gilded sleep, which lasts a week or two, and it heals the body of all wounds and scars, except of those acquired before the blood turns. A chill shudders through me. I no longer have any scars, not even the ones from childhood. They all disappeared the moment I had my first almost death. I'm so uneasy now. I barely notice Britta frowning down at a tiny scar on her hand. Guess I'll never get rid of this then, she says with a sigh. White Hand ignores her and continues. An Alaki can have several almost deaths, but she has only one final death. One method that she can truly be killed. For the vast majority of Malaki, it is either burning, drowning, or beheading. If an Alaki does not die for one of those, she's practically immortal. I suddenly feel lightheaded. Practically immortal? I don't want to remain undying forever. To live despised and reviled as I am, I don't want to remain like this one moment longer than I have to. I have to win absolution. I have to. Beside me, Britta has an awed look on her face. Immortal, she breathes, then gasps. Does that mean we can live forever? I said practically, White Hand corrects her. Nothing is undying except the gods. Your kind does, however, age very slowly. Hundreds of years to each human one. Add to that the swift healing and the ability to see in the dark. And no wonder people are so frightened of your kind. Especially the ones who are hard to kill like Decker. Britta's eyes flick to me again, and I tense, waiting for that look to come into them. That disgust I saw so often reflected in the elder's eyes. She's not even looking at me. Her entire face is screwed in thought as she stares at White Hands. White Hands? She asks. When the older woman turns to her, she continues. We're not going to start eating people, are we? I mean, the Gilded ones did, and with their descendants with all their abilities, and have you started developing sharp teeth? White Hands asks, cutting her off. What? Britta frowns, taken aback. I mean, no, but does the thought of eating human flesh appeal to you? Disgust mottled Britta's face. No, of course not. Then don't ask me any more stupid questions. Eating people indeed. White Hands humps, shaking her head. She motions for us to leave. Run along and secure your bags. It's a long journey to Himara. As Britta and I walk towards the stairs leading down into the hold, Britta grumbles to herself. I don't think it was a silly question, she murmurs. All that talk of predators and unseen in the dark and such, and it's a logical conclusion. Britta sounds so offended a laugh bubbles inside of me, momentarily pushing aside my dread. I try to hold on to feeling as we walk through the door and into the hold. Here we are, Britta's cheerfully voice is like a balm to my thoughts, which are steadily darkening since I've entered the hold. I try not to notice the shadows, the walls curving inward. Try not to notice the black edging my vision, the sweat dripping down my back. This isn't the cellar. This isn't the cellar, I whispered to myself. The cellar was dark still. It smelled of blood and pain, not sour wine and seawater. There were no torches flickering in the shadows, no passengers unpacking their belongings and settled in their spaces. I forced my attention to Britta, who's pointing at the corner we've been given, where there's just enough space to spread out 2 pallets and a string curtain for our privacy. Once we have our pallets down, it feels like we're almost home, she says. There's a strange note in her voice, but she avoids my eyes. And when I glance at her, she bustles about, chattering even more cheerfully. Of course, it could use a few torches. Maybe a bright cloth or something. But it is really nice. It really is. Her voice sounds even more strained now. When I look down, I see that her hands are clenched to her skirt so tight, her fingers have turned the color of bone. Finally, I understand. Just like me, Britta has been branded impure, wrenched from everything she ever knew, and forced into a terrifying new life. Friends, family, even the village she grew up in is lost to her. For the first time in her life, she's completely alone in the world, and she's just as afraid as I am. That's why we tried to get closer all this week, comforting me, and I cried in my nightmares, pretending not to notice whenever I started to scream for no reason. She's not like me, used to being alone, being hated. She needs to be accepted, to be part of a community, except I'm the only community she has right now. She and I connected by our demon ancestors and our golden blood that binds us. That's why she always is there, waiting if I ever need to reach out and talk to her. But I've been so focused on my own misery, I never did. I tried to breathe back the crowding darkness as I turned to her. It must be difficult, leaving behind your family, your village, I whisper, attentive opening to our conversation. Britta's eyes flicked to mine, and her chin trembled slightly. It was, but they'll be waiting for me when I return. Her lips firm into a bright, determined face, a mask that does its utmost to hide the pain, the uncertainty shining in her eyes. Once I'm pure, she declares, I'm going back home to my village, and I'll see me ma and all me friends. I nod quietly, not knowing what to say. That's good. It's good to have friends. We should be friends. Britta leans in closer, her mask of a smile desperately brittle at the edges. I know we just met, she says, and I know after what happened, you find it difficult to trust anyone. But Himira's a long way, and I don't want to do this alone. You're the only one who understands what it feels like, and who understands. She extends her hand. Friends? She asks, hope and fear shining on her face. I look down, considering her extended hand. Friends. What if she betrays me like everyone else did? Like Father, Ionis, the elders? But no. Britta isn't one of the people who cast me out and tortured me. She's an Alaki. The first and only one I've ever met. And she needs me just as much as I need her. Friends, I agree, taking her hand. Britta beams, eagerly moving closer. I've been so afraid of going to Himira and becoming a soldier, she confesses, a river of words rushing out of her. It's as if she's been saving them up this entire week, a dam just waiting to burst. Now that we have each other, maybe it won't hurt that bad. Maybe you even can come back to me village when it's all over. I know yours wasn't the best. And anyway, everyone's friendly in Golma, and we have lots of handsome boys too. Of course, they won't be the same ones I left behind, but there'll be all sorts of lovely ones to pick from. She peers at me speculatively. You ever kissed a boy, Decker? What, me? Never. Where did the question even come from? I've never spoken to anyone about such a thing before Britta, it seems. And she has no such reservations now that the gates have opened. I did once, during one of the village festivals. It was bad. Very bad. His mouth tasted like sour milk. She wrinkles her nose to me. So why didn't ye kiss a boy, I mean? I look down, that awful feeling rising inside of me again. No one ever wanted me, I whisper. Besides, Elder Durkis always told us kissing led to impurity, and I tried so desperately to be pure for all of the good it did me. Britta frowns. Why? You're so pretty. She actually sounds perplexed. I'm not. I shake my head. Awful memories of Ionis' smile and his face, sword in hand, flashing across my mind. Girls as pretty as you. What awful lies he's told. Britta's snort cuts through the awful memory. Ye are pretty, Decker. Your hair curls around your face all pretty like. Your skin is nice and brown even as the deep winter. Then she adds, as if it's an afterthought, and you're shapely. Men like shapely women. And plump ones, she grins. They've always liked me. But they don't like girls who look like they're from the southern provinces, at least. Not in Erfurt. Then maybe it's a good thing we're headed to the south, Britta says, patting my arm as the ship creaks into motion. I nod, sending a silent prayer up to Oyomo that this proves true. And that's chapter 5. Yo, I'm digging coming back to this. And I want to apologize. I think the last time I uploaded some of this story was back in January. Actually, January 1st, Jesus Christ. So it's been 5 months since I've uploaded this story. But I'm getting back to it. I don't give a damn who listens. Gilded Ones is a dope story. And the parallels of being from up north and have a certain body type And then Bretta being like, nah, girl, we finna go to the South where they like them thick. Hey, I'm with it though. Anyway, I'll be back to doing the Gilded ones since I'm temporarily taking a break from poetry. I run dry. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So I'll be taking a break from poetry for a little while. I'm getting back to the ASMR series. The next chapter of season 2 is already recorded. I'm waiting on the last 3 lines from the last voice actor, and then it'll be coming out here soon. I just want to say thank you for my patrons. You guys are the greatest. Thank you for your unconditional support. People have come, people have gone, patrons have come, patrons have go, but you guys have stayed, and I am gratefully appreciative. I don't even know if that goes together, but just know I am. But anywho, I'll be uploading some more videos soon. Some behind the scene video work I've done, just in case you guys want to check that out. The only thing is, please do not share it, because you will be seeing them in some cases before the artist sees them. So if you want to see what I've been up to, I'll be sharing that here as well. But thank you for tuning in to the Gilded Ones, Chapter 5. It's your boy, Sir. I'll let you later. Peace.